Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are taking a look at a figure that has been out actually for quite a few months now, and I just recently got around to purchasing them. I don't know what took me so long. I kind of am kicking myself now for it because they are so nice, but these are the Rebor Ankylosaurus figures. These just hit stores this year. They are newer, but they're not the newest. The newest figure, they now have a V-Rex from the King Kong film from Peter Jackson out, and then before that would have been Sweeney, the Lost World Velociraptor, and these had come out right before that. So as you can tell, I'm a little behind with getting these guys, but I did just recently purchase them. They are here now, and I am really impressed. There are actually 3 different variations of color for these, but I only purchased 2 because honestly I'm not super sold on the other one, but I think it definitely looks nice, and I'm probably going to end up buying it anyway at some point. But for now, I only really wanted to buy these 2, and I got them, and they are fantastic. I personally prefer this one, this reddish plain version, which it's actually called the plain version, which not to say that it's plain. I think it's because it was living in the plains of wherever it was from. But there's also this version, which I think this one is called the mountain version. And there's also a Woodlands version, which is the other one that I did not get. But out of these 2, I feel like I like this one better, but this one's more realistic. It's kind of a confusing mess. But either way, I was really excited to get these guys once I actually did get them in the mail and get them out of the box, because once I picked up the box, one of the initial thoughts I had was, wow, this is pretty heavy. It's a very heavy box for a Rebor figure. It must be a pretty decent sized figure. So when I actually got it out of the box, I was blown away with the size. These things are really big. For Rebor, I don't know if it's just that the last line of figures they've released were smaller, mostly raptors and stuff like that. So I kind of was used to the smaller size, and it's just been a little while since they released a larger figure or what, but these things are really big compared to what I was expecting, and much heavier than I would expect. They're very solid and very nicely sized. I really like the fact that they're much bigger than I expected, because it was just so cool to open it up and get a gigantic, well, I wouldn't say gigantic, but very large Ankylosaurus out and take a look at it. It's much bigger than anything that we got from Papo or anything like that. You can see here in my hand, it's pretty big. Now, one thing that is exciting about these figures alone is the fact that people have been asking Rebor for quite a while to make some herbivores, because the majority of their figures are all predators. They don't release too many herbivores. So aside from the fallen queen, which was a deceased triceratops, and then a few babies, these are the first of the actual herbivores they've released that are alive, and they are awesome. I absolutely cannot wait for them to release more, and they have a lot of very cool upcoming figures that I'll probably make a video and show you guys if you haven't seen, like a Stegosaurus and stuff like that I am just super excited for. But either way, today we're looking at these guys, so let's get a closer look. So we'll start out here with this mountain version, this darker version, and you can see that the paint on it is pretty nicely applied. It's just primarily a dark brown up here on the top, and then it kind of gets to a lighter brown on the underside here, but it honestly, I don't know if it's really too much lighter. It doesn't really look too much lighter. Maybe they just dry brushed it a little lighter on the side and the lower part. I'm not really sure, but the overall sculpt is beautifully done. It really is. Lots of very nice fine details all over, and it looks really good on the spikes and plates of the back. They've done that beautiful dry brushing with that brown to really bring out the detail on the spikes and the plates, and it looks really nice. It makes it look very elaborated as far as the detail goes. And you can see, taking a look at the beak is very similar to the way the spikes and plates are colored. The eyes have that nice dark coloration around them to help you elaborate the eyes, because the eyes are much smaller on Ankylosaurus than they would be on most dinosaurs. So it takes that type of a darker coloration around it to really bring out the eye color, and the eyes look beautiful because of it. You see they're just a golden color in there with a black pupil, but they look very nice. They're not sloppily painted or anything at all. Beautiful shot there from the front. The overall appearance of this is just really nice. The underside is just a whitish coloration, but you can see all the beautiful sculpt work that's been done, even to the point of adding in the padding on the feet. So that's really, really nice the way they've done that. When you actually get this out of the package, you can see a seam here. The tail is disconnected. You actually have to connect the tail yourself. It's kind of like the Mattel figures where you just kind of plug the tail in, and it stays in quite well. I feel like there's a little bit of a gap, maybe not so much on this one. This one actually looks really nice, but on my other one there was a little gap in the tail, and if I push really hard it closes up, but once I let it go it kind of comes open. So if you're not intending on ever taking the tail back out, maybe super gluing the tail with some Gorilla Glue or something would keep it nice and tight. So that's really, I guess, up to you if you want to go that route. You see the leg sculpts are really nicely done, and the feet are sculpted beautifully as well. Nicely painted nails. They look really, really nice. And there's no laziness at all with the paint, especially with these spikes and stuff all over. They are all painted so nicely, beautifully the whole way out. No sloppiness or anything like that. The overall sculpt is really, really nice. And then you get out to that club tail. And again, they've given it a nice dark wash that really brings out the detail and makes it look very lifelike. I absolutely love that. I think it looks fantastic. And you can see a few little holes here on the bottom of the tail, and that is actually because the tail is rubber. And you can flex the tail and move it around to be positioned however you would like. And I think that is also a very, very cool addition to this figure. I really like that as well. Beautiful touch by Rebor. And then this is the plain version. And honestly, it's my favorite. I really think it looks nice. Look at that beautiful detail on the head. The other one being so dark, you have a harder time really taking in the sculpt and detail of it. But with this one being a lighter coloration, you can get a much better idea of how nice the detail is. And you can see that the upper part of the back here and the head and everything is this like reddish type of a coloration. And then you get down here into the side and you can have like a hint of yellow and a lighter red. It really looks beautiful. Same deal with the eyes being a darker coloration around it to help elaborate the eyes. And I feel like the spikes, although on a dinosaur like this, I'm feeling like the spikes probably looked a little more realistic on the other one being a matte type of a look to it. And these ones being more of a gloss looks probably not quite how it would have looked in person in real life. I don't know if it would have really shined this way, but I think that that is much more appealing to me. I don't know what it is about it, but it just looks so much better having that gloss on it. It really brings the figure to life and just gives it such a very attractive look. I really like the way they've done that, and I think that this figure just looks so much better than the other one simply because of that reason. I know the Woodland version also has this gloss on it. From the promotional pictures that I've seen, it definitely shines, so I might have to get it just because of that and see what it looks like in person. But the overall paint has been applied beautifully on both sides, and I really like the beak and everything up here on the head. I love that there is, it kind of becomes a darker coloration the closer it actually gets to the body, and it's the same way on these spikes up here. You can see it does that everywhere, and I really think that looks beautiful, and it really brings attention to those spikes and just makes them pop. It absolutely does, and it looks so stinking nice because of it. You can get a good idea now of the actual detail on the back. Since this is a lighter coloration, you can really see it and take that all in. Same with the legs and the feet. Nicely painted nails. There's no sloppiness anywhere as far as the paint goes on this figure. And the underbelly is just the same as the other one. There's no real paint down here on the underbelly, but it looks nice. The sculpt is absolutely fantastic. Some nice skin folds here in the leg. And then coming back here into the tail again. Those spikes just look fantastic. And it's the same deal with this tail as rubber as well, so you can bend it and fold it to whatever position you would like. And then it gets out to this airbrushed type of a look to the tail. The other one just had a wash on it to really bring out the detail, but this one has more of an airbrush type of a look, and it looks fantastic. Even on the underside, really beautiful. So no matter what, it seems Rebor's Ankylosaurus is going to look awesome. The jaw is also actually articulated, which is cool to see on a herbivore. Can't really see too much inside the mouth, but what you can see does look very nice, very realistic. Beautiful coloration on the inside and a nice gloss, so it looks very real. I can probably pull it down more, but I don't want to snap the jaw off, so I'm not going to do that. I think it looks a little weird with the mouth actually open. Not bad at all, but it just definitely, in my opinion, looks better with the mouth closed than open. And the inside of the mouth of this one is the same deal. Really looks beautiful inside. Looks very real. That coloration is very, very natural looking, very real, and the gloss they've put on it just looks unbelievable in my opinion. It just really looks like the inside of a real living animal's mouth. Now, as I mentioned, the tail, you can move it. So you can see here, you can move it all over the place however you would like. You can have it come up over the body if you would really like. So it's up to you, however you want it to position. You can do whatever you would like with it. I like to have it kind of at a little bit of an angle. Something like that. I think it looks very nice, but you can do it however you would like. It's really up to you. However, I'm going to straighten it out right now, simply so we can measure it. And for a size, from the head to the tail, you are looking at 11¼ inches, maybe a little tiny bit over, or about just under 29 centimeters. And the highest point, honestly, would be the tail. So we'll go to the tip of the tail here. You're looking at about almost 4 inches on the dot, or about 10½ centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, and you can see that the Ankylosaurus now is about to fend him off to help his buddy, the mountain version over here. But looking at them together, you can see that the Ankylosaurus is really, really big compared to the T-Rex. It's definitely a large Rebor figure. I believe they're in 1/35th scale, so they're very, very nicely sized. You're not going to get a small, cheap figure if you're going to buy one of these Rebor Ankylosaurus figures. You're going to get an absolutely fantastic version and a very large version of an Ankylosaurus. Taking a look at one of the boxes, this one is the mountain version, and you can see it does give the name of War Pig right here on the front. It does tell you the scale of 1/35th scale, and if you turn the box around, you can get an idea of all of the other Rebor releases that they've come out with so far, aside from any of the Rebor Oddities line or the hatchling dinosaurs that they've had. There are a few missing, but from the main dinosaur releases, there you go, you can see all of them right there. Of course, we have 2 open spots, but that does not mean that once those 2 spots there are filled, that this line is ending, because that is absolutely not the case. There are plenty more Rebor to come. So overall, I think both of these Ankylosaurus figures are fantastic. They really, truly are, but I honestly prefer this one a little more than this one. I'm not really sure what it is about it, but I just kind of, I like the overall look. I like the lighter paint scheme and the overall glossy type of a look to the spikes, even though this one, like I said, is probably more realistic because I don't think that it would have actually had that gloss and it wouldn't have shined so much. And now one thing I actually just noticed, I don't know how I didn't pick up on this before, but the head sculpts are different on these. This one's head sculpt is turned slightly to his right, whereas this one's head sculpt is turned slightly to its left. If you look at them, I actually might have to take the tail off, which now he looks a little weird without it. But if you look there at the heads, you can see the heads are tilted slightly different directions. I don't know if that's how they are on all of them, and I would imagine it probably is, but that's actually a very small, minute difference between the two to really give you difference in your figures. A lot of people complain about Rebor giving you different paint schemes all the time, and then you have to go out and buy each one, but honestly, I think that's awesome. I love the fact that they give you so many different options of their figures, because if you get a dinosaur that comes out by a company and then you look at it and you say, wow, I really don't like that paint scheme, I'm not going to buy it. Well, guess what? Rebor gives you choices. You actually can pick from 2 to 3 sometimes with these Ankylosaurs, different choices of paint, so you can pick the one that you like the best, or you can pick them all, like I usually do. Again, I've only purchased these 2 so far, but I'm probably going to end up buying the other one anyway. And now that I see that there is a slight difference actually between the 2, aside from paint and stuff, but the head sculpt is in a slightly different position, it makes me quite intrigued to get the other one and see if that one's a little bit different as well. You can also be a big weirdo and take the tails and put them on the different dinosaurs and give them opposing colors on their tails. But I don't know why anybody would want to do that. Anyway, like I said, both of these Ankylosaurus figures are absolutely fantastic. The overall detail and sculpt work is beautiful. They both look so striking but so nice and so realistic. Very, very beautiful coloration, but it's not over the top, anything crazy that you're going to look at it and say, wow, I definitely could not see it being that color. I feel like both of these are potentially very real and very natural looking colorations, and they are nicely sized, very large figures that Rebor has produced here. Both have their differences, both have their own individual charms, and I honestly love both. I love the addition of these bendable tails as well, because it just gives you so much more you can do with your figures as opposed to just posing it in one position. And you can also then make your figures look different, since you can have multiple colorations of your figures and then pose their tails along with, of course, their head is in a slightly different position. But you can pose their tails in different positions as well to just give them, again, more difference. So if you want to order these guys, I will throw a link in the description to BigBadToyStore.com or EverythingDinosaur.com, wherever you want to purchase them from. They are both on those websites, and they are both beautiful. I highly recommend either of these, and I'm hoping to get the other one at some point in the very near future, and I'll probably throw that up on the channel too if you guys are interested in seeing it. So either way, go buy it, love it like I do, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.